Hold up. Wait a minute.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Let's take a trip around the curve. Hey everybody, how you doing? It's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. Oh, that's all wrong. I'm like, well, why is that looking crazy? Hi, everyone. I know it's been a minute, but there's been a lot going on over here. As some of you may or may not know, I live in Southern California, and maybe a week after I broadcast last, which was around the holidays, around January 6th or 7th, wildfires broke out in Southern California, and one was particularly close to me. So I'm going to show you what happened from my vantage point. But before I get into that, welcome. Thank you for popping by, whether it's in real time or whether it's virtually. I wholeheartedly appreciate it. I also wanted to say that, if this is your first time joining me, please click the bell for notifications below. Give me a thumbs up to let me know that you were here. And we will go ahead and get this party started, okay? So, last time I saw y'all, I was about to go to my friend's wedding, and my friend was Yvette Nicole Brown, and she got married. And I can't remember if I said this before or not, but if I'm repeating myself, forget about it. But me and my good girlfriend, Octavia Spencer, we rode over there together. So that's us at the actual, is this the reception? I think that's the reception. And then this is at the reception table. In the middle above me is Lonnie Love. To your left is Octavia Spencer. And to your right is Natasha Rothwell, who has a show on HBO called How to Die Alone. And you guys may know her from Kelly on Insecure. And then, of course, in true fashion, we had to turn all the way up. We acted out. Table 15 was in full effect, honey. And then after that, a really dear friend passed away. This is Josh. And Josh was the president for Film Independent. A lot of the interviews that I have done over the last years have been for Film Independent, whether it was virtually or whether I moderated a panel for them in person. Josh was one of the reasons, him along with Gil Robertson, are the reasons that I was able to do that at Film Independent, as well as Rachel and Brian and some other people that introduced me to all of them. But he lost his fight with cancer, and so we all celebrated him in true Film Independent fashion by going to the Film Independent brunch. This is the 40th year for that organization, and they always have a nominee brunch to honor the nominees and to give out some awards. So that is me on their carpet honoring Josh the best way I know how, with a smile and laughter and looking fabulous. And then right before the fires kicked off, I interviewed this lovely young lady who is the vice chair for the NAACP. And we are talking a little bit about their nominations and what that's going to look like and what the show is going to look like and all of that. That's Karen Boykin-Town. So we spoke with her. And then just to give you some perspective of what I was dealing with the fires. So I was not in close proximity to any of the fires except for the Woodley fire. And when that happened, this is what I saw from my bedroom window. You can see that the image is grainy because I took that picture through the screen door. But that is the smoke that was billowing right on the other side of my house. And so it's understandable that I haven't been online, I haven't been talking, haven't been doing any of that. And here's another photograph that I took from a car. That's what the sky looked like here. It looked like the end of the world. And just a couple of days ago, I was driving home and saw fire trucks still lined up over by the Sepulveda Pass, which is relatively close to where I live, like throwing spits throw distance away, because people are still setting fires over there. But we now are in a place where they are downgrading the fires. They are contained. People are being able to repopulate their homes. I had several friends that lost their homes. I had several friends that lost their lives. I have several friends that were fortunate enough to not lose their homes, but have been displaced for quite some time. In the midst of all of that, there was awards that were supposed to happen, award shows that were supposed to happen. A lot of them, as you know, got postponed. They got pushed back, and so did the Oscar nominations, which have now been pushed back to the 23rd, which is happening later on this week. Oh, my nose is itching. So the Oscar nominations will come out later on this week, but the Critics' Choice Awards got postponed. Um, the PGA Awards got postponed. The DGA got postponed. The SAG Awards got postponed. Everything got postponed. But what I did want to do before I got into all my movies and things that I want to talk about. Oh, and let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to talk about, my nose is itching. I don't know why. I'm going to run back and tell you what my favorites were for 2024 were, before we get into 2025. But today I'm going to do a review of Better Man. I'm going to speak with Marianne Jean-Baptiste and Michelle Austin from Hard Truths. Fabulous film. You really want to check it out. It's called Hard Truths. It is in theaters right now. I spoke with Jarrell Jerome and Anthony Robles from Unstoppable. I wasn't able to post that interview prior to the fires, but I have that one. And then last but certainly not least, I spoke with Kiki Palmer and Issa Rae, who are the producers of Sony Pictures' One of Them Days. And so we'll be talking about all of those. But let me get into one other thing before I go into the movies and whatnot. So there was a situation where people in the middle of the wildfires, somebody found a picture of an Oscar. So let me just come on camera so you can see me talking about it. So what happened was, among the shocking images that emerged from the fatal wildfires, including the ones that I just showed you, consuming the greater Los Angeles area, there was one that spoke to the tragedy from a uniquely Hollywood perspective. And it was a photo that had been shared by Isabella Rossellini, among others, depicting an Academy Award statue sitting on top of rubble. The Oscar was scuffed up. It was missing some of its bronze and gold plating. The black film reel is melted and misshapen. The presumption is that the statue survived a fire in an industry person's home. We don't know who that industry person's home is. For a minute, there were, rumors flying about that there's some very prestigious Oscar winners that it belonged to them, but that was not true. So, but what I'll say is, given all the disinformation, conspiracy theories, and AI generated forgeries being spread online, there is a question of whether this image of the singed Oscar is a genuine photograph or a hoax. To date, we still don't know. But I just wanted to tell y'all about that while we were talking about it, because, that's what my headline says. And baby, this is 2025 and it's only the beginning. I'm just saying, there's a lot going on. All right, so let's get into what my favorites were for 2024. One of my favorite documentaries was a documentary called Daughters. It is on Netflix streaming right now. It's dealing with the daughters of some incarcerated men when the facility decides to have a daddy-daughter day dance, and how that affects the young ladies and their families when they're little, and as they get a little older, what happens when some of the men are released and some of them are not. It's a beautiful documentary, and I wholeheartedly expect it to get an Oscar nomination. Girl State was the girls' version of Boy State, which I reviewed here a couple of times. That was one of my favorite documentaries, where young teens and young adults are able to really deep dive into the government and how it works by reimagining what a government would look like run by women. Sugarcane is a really great documentary. I've interviewed them for Critics' Choice. You can find that interview on their website. It's dealing with a father and son who come together under the most auspicious circumstances and how they rediscover each other under those in that light. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, yeah, I don't even have to tell y'all what that's about. I love Superman. I loved Christopher Reeve. I loved him and was happy to see his story on screen for all to see. Seeking Mavis Beacon, I loved this because I didn't know, I used to use this typing program and didn't know anything about it, but it was really one of my favorite documentaries. And of course, Frida, about Frida Kahlo, by one of my favorite documentarians, Carla Gutierrez. She directed this, and it was one of the most creatively beautifully bold colored documentaries I'd ever seen in my life. And of course, my friend Josh Greenbaum and his documentary, which is also streaming on Netflix, Will and Harper. And I wasn't a big fan of basketball, but Sue Bird in the Clutch kind of made me check it out. I saw Sue Bird in the Clutch at Sundance and met her and her lovely manager there, and that was great. Huge fan of Bruce Springsteen, the boss. His documentary is streaming on Disney Plus. I love that. I really love The Sopranos. And so HBO has this documentary, and I think it's a 4-episode documentary. It's called Wise Guy, David Chasing the Sopranos. Very, very enlightening. And when we get over to the feature side, The Piano Lesson was one of my favorite films, as was Nickel Boys. Y'all know this. I don't need to even say anything else about it. I also really loved, and I'm really sad that this isn't getting more attention from an award standpoint. I'm hoping that the SAG Awards and some of the other ones coming up will give this some love. 6888, about a battalion of women in the Army who sorted out mail for soldiers to boost their spirits. They were expected to fail. They exceeded the Army's expectations. It stars Kerry Washington and is directed by Tyler Perry. I've often said that this is one of Tyler Perry's best films to date. This picture here is an original photograph of the original 6888. Bad Boys 4. Listen, what can you say? I love Bad Boys 4. Will and Martin, they are everything. Sing Sing, Coleman Domingo, he did it again, and he's going to get an Oscar nomination, hands down. Hopefully his co-star Clarence Macklin, who's seated behind him in this photograph, will get honored for his work as well. If you have not seen Sing Sing, it is about a group of prisoners that get together and they do plays to kind of, keep themselves creative and keep their mind off of the reasons why most of them are there. Exhibiting Forgiveness by Titus Kaphar is a beautifully executed film from every vantage point: directing, cinematography, acting. In that picture is Andre Holland and Andra Day, and I'm telling you, it's worth a watch. The Substance with Demi Moore, worth a watch. It is a body horror film that speaks very loudly to what Hollywood does with older people, younger women. I'm sorry, older women in particular, when Hollywood decides, or men in Hollywood decides that their time is up, and how two women in particular handle that challenge. Inside Out 4. I loved this movie. It's a Pixar Disney joint. It is probably streaming on the Disney Channel right now. Ghost Light with Keith Kupfer and his family and Dolly De Leon. These two people end up playing Romeo and Juliet. The senior version, I dare say. It was a beautiful story. If you have not seen that, please check it out. The Room Next Door with my girls, Julianne Moore and Tilda Swinton. Beautifully crafted film. Beautifully crafted film. Check it out. I talked about Baby Girl before. You got to check it out. Nicole Kidman is doing her thing. Miss June Squibb in Thelma, another one. This is the year of older dolls, seasoned dolls, showing you that age does not have an expiration date when it comes to talent. So I loved seeing her in this, starring in a film, being a 90-plus-year-old woman. Hitman, which is also streaming on Netflix, was one of the 4 movies that Glenn Powell starred in 2024, and he is on the come up, y'all. The Last Showgirl was a love letter to Vegas showgirls, starring the fantabulous Pamela Anderson, and she did a wonderful job. Hoping to see her get more love throughout the award season as well. Hugh Grant in Heretic. It was creepy. Y'all know I don't like horror, but I kind of loved him in that. That was one of my favorites. Gladiator 2, for obvious reasons. Denzel Washington, Paul Mescal. What you gonna say? It was Gladiator. And last but not least, one of my favorites of 2024 was Wicked. Y'all already know. So just to recap the Golden Globes real quick, the Golden Globes were, to date, is the only award show that actually got their show up and running. Having said that, we saw Fernanda Torres win for I'm Still Here for Best Female Actor in a Motion Picture Drama, which ironically, her mother was nominated in that same category some 20, 30 years ago, did not win, but she did. Demi Moore won for the first time ever for her role in The Substance. And she began reflecting very emotionally about her 40-year career in the industry. And she told this wonderful story about somebody telling her that she was a popcorn actress. Demi Moore, you are no popcorn actress, honey. Zoe Saldana won for Best Supporting Female Motion Picture for Emilia Perez. So it's safe to say that these two ladies will actually probably make the cut for Best Actress for the Oscars and everything else. Wicked was pretty much shut out of every single solitary category in terms of taking home statues, except for the cinematic box office achievement, which how could you deny it? It made billions of dollars. The best actor race is going to be interesting because Adrian Brody during the Golden Globes emerged as a front runner for his role in The Brutalist as best male actor. I always said, why do they keep awarding this boy for playing for playing a Jewish man during wartime? He's gifted. He's talented. Can we give him another role? I'm glad to see him getting his flowers, but can he please get his flowers for something else? Emilia Perez won Best Motion Picture Comedy or Musical, and it was accepted by its star Carla Sofia Gascon. She gave a beautiful speech that spoke specifically to trans women in this country and what's about to go down with the new administration. And of course, The Brutalist won Best Motion Picture Drama, among other things. So that's what's happening for my favorites of 2024. That's what's happening with the Golden Globes. So let's get into these interviews and everything that I have to talk about. I was going to give a preview of Sundance today, but it's a lot of movies. So I'm going to do another video in a couple of days with specifically what there is to watch coming out of Sundance, because I have a lot of films I need to catch up on. I will not be attending Sundance physically. I will be doing it virtually because I said prior to the holidays that I had been in a car accident, and I don't think it's really a smart move for me to be flying right now. So that is the reason why I am covering it virtually. All right, so we talked about the Golden Globes, and now we're going to get into these film reviews. Let's talk a little bit about Better Man. So Better Man is produced by Paramount Pictures. Let me find my picture for Better Man so that y'all know what I'm referencing when I'm speaking. So Better Man is produced by Paramount Pictures. It's directed by Michael Garvey. I think his name is Garvey. Michael Garvey. It's a true story of the meteoric rise, dramatic fall, and remarkable resurgence of British pop star Robbie Williams, who is pictured there on the left. Now, on the right is this CGI mocap chimp thing that they used to portray Robbie in the film. And I'm going to say, I was a little put off by that at first. I wasn't having it. But as the movie went on, I kind of got used to it, and I understood through the film what the messaging was and approaching it from that vantage point. That's the most I can tell you without telling you completely what the film is about. But what I will say is that it is another one of these avant-garde musicals. This seems to be the year for musicals. We got Better Man, we got Wicked, we have Honora. What's the other one we have? We have Piece by Piece, which seemingly got lost this award season. If you remember earlier in 2024, I talked about Pharrell's animated docu pick thing called Piece by Piece, which I thought was brilliantly done, but it just kind of got lost in the shuffle for whatever reason, and people didn't really pick it up. Amelia Perez. So this particular year, we're seeing a lot of musicals emerge. And if Hollywood does anything well, it when turbulent times hit America, we always turn to musicals and comedies and things of that sort to lift us up and lift our spirits, right? So there's that. Um, Williams in this film is he used to belong to a beloved boy band called Take That in the early 90s. And after leaving the group in 95, just when his success was cresting, he transformed himself into a potential pop culture footnote into an icon. So he went from being somebody that was going to be forgettable to becoming an icon. And he had a slew of blockbuster albums that made him a household name across the UK, Europe, and Australia, but not here in the United States, where in the early 2000s, his attempt to gain traction made very little progress. So um, what I loved about the film is that we track that whole history of Robbie Williams, and then we see how his nana, who is beloved to him, believed in him when he didn't even believe in himself, pushing him forward in his career with this cocky confidence that helped him get to where he is now. And there's something to be said for that. Rachel Bano, who plays Nicole Appleton, was perfection as his love interest. And even though um, you might think that that's Robbie Williams playing opposite her, it is not. It is actually the amazingly gifted Jono Davies who's doing the musical numbers with her. It's not Robbie Williams. Speaking of which, the musical numbers are fun, they're elaborate, they're very well shot, they're very well choreographed. It's a lot of fun to watch. I actually did enjoy that because y'all know I'm a musical girl. Um, but what was heartbreaking for me in this film is how Robbie wanted nothing more than to emulate his dad. His dad was like a comedian, and he wanted to emulate his dad, not a comedian. His dad was like a comedian slash singer. He wanted to be like Frank Sinatra. He idolized Frank Sinatra, and Robbie very much wanted to be his dad. But what happens in situations like that, where you emulate a parent that wants to be in show business, sometimes the parent becomes jealous of the child and psychologically does a number on the child so that they're an emotional mental mess. So that kind of is what happened with Robbie Williams, unfortunately. Oh, y'all are talking your booties off. Let me see what y'all saying. Ah, thank you for my flowers. Yes. Oh, those aren't my flowers. Those are Zoe and Demi's flowers. Wicked is really good. Like it's beyond. You have to see it. You know, I say that about Selena Gomez too. I think of the three, Selena was actually my favorite because she was the one person that stepped out of her box the most to me. Yes, it was terrible. And thank you for tuning in, and thank you. So glad to hear. Oh, and my boy Brandon said that he was happy that I'm safe from the fires. Thank you. I appreciate you. He also says he can't wait to see Dogman in a few weeks. I got you on that one. All right. And back to our regularly scheduled program. Oh, my nose is itching. And it's red. Sorry. Because y'all see I got on my onesie. I'm so tired and my neck is killing me. Just so that you can see. So this is my neck on this side, and this is my neck on the side that I had the accident. You can see that big lump right there. It's not cute. We're working on it. We're in physical therapy and all the things. So hopefully it'll get better. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. How Robbie wanted to be like his dad and how heartbreaking that was. That he was competing with his own son, or the other thing that was heartbreaking is how trying to collaborate in show business can go left really, really fast when you are dealing with somebody that you trust, and then all of a sudden, the roles change within the collaboration, and people start getting weird. There's lots of colorful language in this film, a whole bunch. So I warn parents appropriately. You might want to accompany your child to this movie, but it's a very interesting film. It wasn't I mean, I liked it. I didn't love it, but it's an interesting film, and I think you guys will have a great time watching it. If I'm being honest, let's talk a little bit about Unstoppable. So, Unstoppable stars Jarrell Jerome. Jarrell Jerome made history winning an Emmy for his role in When They See Us, which was directed by Ava DuVernay. He's now in this film called Unstoppable, which stars Jennifer Lopez, Michael Pena, among others, and Bobby Cannavale. And he is really going full throttle. I had an opportunity to sit down and speak with him and Anthony Robles, who the film is based upon, as well as the book, and this is what they had to say. I want to congratulate you on your breakthrough award last night.
Thank
Very
you.
much deserved.
Thank you so much.
You know how I
Thank
feel
you.
about you. And it's so
Thank you,
wonderful
Carla.
to finally meet you.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So when you guys were training for this, what day would you say broke you, and what day would you say made you stronger?
I mean, I'll say every day broke me and made me stronger as it was breaking me. You know what I'm saying? I had such a weight goal to get to, so every day wasn't enough in my brain. You know, I wasn't there ever. You know, as a lot of times I looked at Anthony like, I don't know, man, I don't know, and he would actually be the person to lift me up and remind me that I'm on the way to a bigger goal and to just keep at it and to keep chipping away. So yeah, it never felt like there was an easy day. You know, every day there was just this. Jarrell, get at it, or you won't get it done. But that just strengthens you, you know. What don't kill you make you stronger. So
How about you, Anthony? Was there a day that made you stronger? Because this is the field that you have chosen to be in. So whether you're training yourself or whether you're training somebody else, I can't imagine that sometimes your head just be like, you know what? No, not today.
I think going through the process, especially the physical part of it, you know, I had been training in the past, but, you know, I had a knee injury that popped up during the training, but I just remember, you know, watching Jarrell and everything that he had on his plate, not just the wrestling part of it, but the workouts that he was doing on top of remembering all these scenes. It's like, man, I got nothing to complain about. You know, I want to carry my load as well. I want to be part of this team. And so he inspired me, his work ethic of showing up and of putting himself through these things to tell my story in the right way, to make me proud of it. That inspired me, saying, okay, you know, I can keep going. This knee injury, I can deal with that, tape it up, I'm good to go. But he pulled me through this whole process. It was a fun experience.
Y'all are brothers, huh?
This the homie, man. Yes, this is my brother. It's so hard to explain. We were talking about that yesterday because we finished the night and had some drinks in the lobby to end our night. And you could talk about how close we got. We could talk about how we met 5 years ago, but people, you know, you won't really know the bond that we were able to create, being in the middle of a desert in Arizona at 5 in the morning and looking at each other like, you ready, man? And then just going to it, you know? And I mean, I've crashed on his couch. He's gotten that salad for me. I've met his mom. I mean, obviously I met his mom, but I mean, I met his entire family and went to his favorite restaurants. And, you know, it's so much deeper than this is the guy I'm playing in a film, you know. And we could say it over and over, but people won't really know.
Carne asada, huh?
Carne
Is that your
asada.
specialty?
That's my specialty. I stand behind that.
We doing that thing, yo.
Look, I see you having a flashback about it already.
You see me? I'm like, yup. By the way, you
You're like, can we have that for lunch
I'm
today?
like, you got some on you right now?
That's hilarious. Listen, real quickly, I want to just speak to that clip that shows you talking to your coach, talking about, you know, not wanting to give up and not having that moment where people look at you and go, that's nice. Do you feel like you have that moment now where you have surpassed your wildest dreams? And for you too, do you think you have surpassed your wildest dreams, or is your wildest dream yet to come realized?
Yeah, my wildest dream is yet to come. I am so grateful for the things I've been able to accomplish, but that's just scratching the surface of what I see for myself and what I imagine for myself. And so I love doing that monologue because, one, I think it encaptured exactly who Anthony is in just a minute, but two, I felt like I was speaking as me as well, especially as just an actor of color in the industry. It's like, you know, once we make our mark, we got to keep making our mark. It ain't like it's easy from here on up. It actually gets harder, and I'm feeling that. So, yeah, how about you?
I like to say I'm a constant work in progress. I'm always trying to be better. I'm always trying to achieve the next goal to get to be better in my life. And I'm just blessed though, to be here, to have this opportunity with this amazing film. But also, I'm a husband now, I'm a dad now. So my dream, I'm living it right now, but it's a daily thing. I'm achieving my dream every single day, little by little, and just grateful for the opportunities that are presented to me in my life.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your dream, or part of your dream, with us. It's a beautiful, beautiful story, and it needed to be told. And I'm glad that now everybody knows who you are. And you, my brother,
What's up?
you just on the cusp, but you know this.
I hope so.
Thanks,
feel it.
y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
I love me some Jarrell Jerome. I've been riding with that little brother since day one. So again, you guys, it's called Unstoppable. It is probably streaming right now on Prime Video. I think it is as of January 16th. You can check it out there. Again, it stars Jennifer Lopez, Jarrell Jerome, Michael Pena, and it is based on the life of award-winning wrestler Anthony Robles. What are y'all talking about now? Smooth recovery. Oh, it's good to see me and hear me too. I'm a little loopy, and that's why my eyes are a little red and my nose is red. So there's that. Smooth recovery. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. I really, really do. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. So, I also wanted to tell you, in the coming weeks, I have these things coming up. I'm going to be talking to, I love the show Harlem that is on Prime Video with Megan Good, Grace Byer, Shaniqua Shande, and Jerry. I can't remember Jerry's last name, but it'll come to me. Anyway, those four ladies, they are doing their final season of Harlem, so I'll be speaking with them. The show premieres next week and it's under embargo, so I can't really show the interview with them right now, but I will have that for you guys next week. Again, in the middle of the week, I'll be talking about Sundance 2025, and then I want to talk about this movie a little bit. I think it's called Back in Action. Let me see what it's called exactly. I think it's called Back in Action. But it's a new film by Jamie Foxx it's called Back in Action. It's a new film by Jamie Foxx that's streaming on Netflix. It's him and Cameron Diaz. It's kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but with like a really different twist to it. So in this version of the Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing, because we've seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith on TV, we've seen it in the film with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, we've seen Donald Glover in it, we've seen Maya in it, and now we got Cameron and Jamie Foxx. When I tell y'all, I need to see Cameron and Jamie Foxx in some more movies. They have such an ease to their filmmaking together. They're very, very comfortable with one another, and they complement each other on screen very, very well. And in this particular iteration of the Mr. and Mrs. Smith situation, they have children. So in the process of them getting off the grid, so they end up in a situation where they decide collectively to get off the grid, and they get off the grid, they start their family, they're in the middle of doing their family drama when some things kick off, and they gotta get on the move and get on the make. They run to Cameron Diaz's mother's house, who is played by Glenn Close. Baby, why is Glenn Close playing all the black grandmamas on TV for the people that's kind of light skinned? It's comical, but it's not. But I'm kind of there for it because Glenn Close is fierce. And in Back in Action, she is a British grandma. So not only is she playing the grandma to these little half black, half white kids, but she is British on top of that. Baby, shenanigans ensue. And I just was getting my entire life watching Glenn Close be a spy. It was everything. The last time I think I remember seeing Cameron Diaz do anything action-wise is when she was in Charlie's Angels. And they allude at the end of the film that we might see another version of it because one of their old colleagues shows up in their car at the end of the movie and tells her that they need her to get in touch with her dad. Now, that was a twist because what I thought they was going to say is they was going to have the little boy, her son, get into it because her son was giving people a run for his money. I kind of loved Back in Action. I'm like, how did I miss the junket for that? I should have been on top of that, but I really love that film. Again, it is called Back in Action and it is streaming on Netflix. Hard Truths is this film that I saw with Marianne Jean-Baptiste, and I kind of love her. It's directed by Mike Lee, who her and Mike Lee are reuniting from Sex Lies and Videotape, which was the last time we saw Marianne Jean-Baptiste get nominated for an Oscar, and she needs to be nominated for an Oscar again. It's in theaters right now and a limited run, but this is the situation. Marianne Jean-Baptiste plays Pansy. Pansy's angry, she's depressed, she goes off on everybody, family and strangers, and her constant criticism isolates her, except from her cheerful sister, Chantal, who is played by the fantabulous Michelle Austin, who remains sympathetic despite their differences. If you have ever experienced a parent or an elderly person close to you that is just miserable and just makes everyone around them miserable and suffer, then this one is for you, because it will give you a different insight and a little bit more empathy into why those types of people are the way that they are. The unfairness is that they take the unfairness and the lashing out that they do with their children, their friends, their husbands, their siblings. It is, you get a glimpse of it and you understand what that is. I can't really explain it to you without telling you what the whole movie is about, and I really want y'all to see this film because it's excellent. Or when you realize that the person, in this particular case, when you realize the person is miserable because of their agoraphobia. And if you don't know what agoraphobia is, it is a fear of going outside. So in addition to being just plain miserable, Pansy suffers from agoraphobia. One of the things that stuck out to me is that this film does give you empathy and compassion for an older person or a parent who feels like the cards they were dealt is unfair. And it's a masterclass in acting from Marianne Jean-Baptiste, because 3/4 of the film she's talking. There's two moments that stuck out to me immensely. There is a moment where her husband is hurt and he's in the stairwell asking her for help, and she's so paralyzed by fear that she can't even get out of the bed to come help her husband, who is physically in pain and needs her. She just could not do it. And then there's this one moment that's funny, but it's not funny. So Pansy is in this furniture store, and the woman in the furniture store asks her, can she help her? And Pansy starts going off on the salesperson about how you gonna let people come up in here and be rolling around all on the furniture and people want to buy it. And they get into a whole thing. And then she says, I want to speak to your manager. When the girl runs to go get her manager, Pansy runs out the store. I hollered out loud. But having said all of that, I did get a chance to speak to Michelle and Marianne Jean-Baptiste. And I want you to hear what they had to say about this film in one of the most wonderful interviews I've had in quite some time. Take a look and a listen to Marianne and Michelle. I heard you say this in an interview not too long ago with a friend of mine, Anjanou Ellis Taylor. And when you said this, I wanted to expound upon it a little bit further. And I'll have both of you address it. I heard you say something about, for this process with this film, there's a difference between pulling the character out and putting the character on. And I just wanted you guys to talk about that as it pertains to Hard Truths. And Marianne, if you could go first, that would be great.
Well, what I think I was alluding to is the fact that you create the character in the whole self. You know, it's not about just putting on an accent or a particular costume or the way that you're made up. It's all about drawing the character from within, building a life for them, something that's really real and tangible. And I think that there's a difference. You know, I think very often in some movies, it's all about the outer stuff that indicate who the person is rather than it emanating from within them, you know?
Yeah, I love that. You want to expound upon it a little bit more, sis?
I think that because these characters are based on, you know, real life people, that is the thing that sort of sets this apart. And, you know, it's the amount of work that we do to create these characters and make them fully rounded. And of course, that means that there is a certain element of truth in the way that in Mike's films, because yeah, it's based on real life. These are based on real people, and we kind of know who these people are. I mean, obviously, your character changes when you know, as you sort of going on along in the process. But definitely at the start, it's, you know, it's very it's truthful.
I love that. Speaking of truthful, I feel like this film is a film about the idea of touch in various different forms, touching the heart, touching the mind, and literally touching one another. It's interesting because Pansy has got issues with, you know, stepping outside or stepping out of her comfort zone. So as her sister, Michelle, there's that moment where y'all hug. And for me personally, that was a really moving moment. I want to know for both of you, what is the best hug you ever got and how did it make you feel?
Oh God, I don't think there can be just one. I can give
There
you,
isn't, yeah.
I can maybe give you like a, you know, a top 5, but that's, I mean, that's an ever changing list. So I can talk to, you know, babies on chest. The first time that baby's on your chest, you just think, oh, dude, that's, you know, that's an amazing hug. But also the amazing hugs are when, I mean, this is going to be a lot about children, I think. When a child decides that they're going to hug you, they want to give you love.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. You've not asked for it.
And they kind of throw themselves like,
yeah.
And they latch on.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
That's the one.
yeah.
Oh gosh. A friend of mine, I was just talking about him the other day. I lost a friend recently, passed away. And I was talking about his hugs because he would give you like he was getting something out of you. Like he would hug you, but it was like he was trying to give you all of himself.
It was like a bear hug, right?
Yeah, but it was like you just felt like loved when you got that hug. I love being hugged by my daughters.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm not saying that we like being hugged by our husbands.
They won't hear it's bad.
They won't hear it's bad.
Next question. I love how that resonated with y'all. I know that the title of this film is Hard Truths, but as Black women in an industry that doesn't always love us back, what is your hard truth as an artist? Like, look, I call a spade, honey. I shoot straight from the hip.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I think the hard truth of the matter is that you have to be on your own journey and understand that it's your journey, and that you have to love and protect and look after your art, and do not let the business make you hate your art. That's the pure part of what we do.
Yeah.
As artists.
Oh gosh, I mean, I think a hard truth for me also, I suppose, is, and it was a realization that I came to really quickly, is that you know, along the way you meet people who are so terrifically talented and amazing at their craft, you know, and they don't have the success, you know, that other people have, and the unfairness of that is a hard truth. That we know that, of course, hard work is rewarded in our industry, but sometimes there is luck and happenstance and all sorts of things, and I think that can be tough. I think, and it's not necessarily just a thing as a Black artist. I think it's, you know, as a female artist, as an artist in her middle age. I'm speaking for myself, obviously not yourself, but look, you know, it's like
yeah, I'm right there with you. Look, I'm a claim it.
So, you know, I think there are many, and also one of the best things I've learned is the power of no. And the power to be able, when you realize that you don't have to do things, and you can say no, and you can walk away from things that are not for you, and you don't have to be grateful for them, and that's okay. And that was a very powerful lesson to learn, that I didn't have to do shit I didn't want to do.
Wonderful.
I love y'all because y'all keep it so real. Y'all are just so real and so authentically honest and truthful and talented. And
I could give the adjectives going on and on and on and on, but I'm getting toward the end of my time, but I don't want to end the conversation without telling both of you how brilliantly spectacular your performances in this film was. I enjoyed it so much. I saw so many people that I knew in the course of watching the film. So when you say it's based on real people, you can tell that it's based on real people by the way that they move and groove and talk and interact with one another. But Marianne, you will have no way of remembering this. But back in the late 90s, you came to a musical called The Life on Broadway.
Yes, I did.
And you came to the album release party afterwards. And that is where I met you. I looked drastically different, but I had long hair at the time. And you were like, you told me that I reminded you of Natalie Wood. And honey, I have been holding that in my heart ever since. I'm like, yes, honey, I am the Black Natalie Wood. Yes, living in my life.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lilias White, right?
huh?
It was Lilias White in the play. Yes.
I was the swing, so I covered everybody. But I remember seeing you at that party, and we kikied for a minute. But I was so excited to see you back up on the screen again. And Michelle, you give her a run for her money in this movie, honey.
Oh,
You
listen.
let her have it, and I'm there for all of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
you.
Carla.
Thank you for giving me your time today. I really do
Oh.
appreciate it. And congratulations to both of you.
Thank you
so
very much. Thank you.
Thank
Nice to meet
Carla.
Listen, I meant what I said. I was walking around for years, all excited because Marianne Jean-Baptiste told me I look like Natalie Wood. I was like, yes, I will take that. I love me some Natalie Wood. Anywho, you guys, please check out Michelle and Marianne in Hard Truths. It is in a limited release in theaters right now. My boy in the chat room, he said, I concur. No is very powerful. Yes, it is. No is a complete sentence. Okay? No is a complete sentence. And yes, Back in Action totally gives me and you apparently Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes. All right. So last but not least, I want to talk about it's one of them days. Baby, one of them days. I love this movie. And I loved it. Oops. I loved it for a variety of different reasons. I'm trying to find the picture to go up to it so that y'all can see what I'm talking about. Because I hate talking about stuff and y'all like, what movie is that she talking about? I'm about to show you what movie I'm talking about. This movie right here with SZA and Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer and Issa Rae executive produced this film for Sony Pictures. It's directed by Lawrence Lamont and it stars Keke and SZA. Don't SZA look like Shaka Khan in that picture? I'm just saying, if Shaka Khan was doing, let me come on, Karen. If Shaka Khan was an actress and doing comedy, she would look like SZA. She would sound like SZA. She would act like SZA. When I tell you, I laughed out loud at this movie because it was giving me millennial, it was giving me BAPS for the millennials and from people from my generation Friday. It was like BAPS meets Friday in a movie with SZA and Keke Palmer. Baby, it was hysterical. And the Cheetos on the rims, I'm gonna have to try that. That was pure comedy too. And this is the other thing. I heard one of my friends, Danielle Pinnock, say this, and it made me laugh. So in the film, this is what the film deals with. When her boyfriend takes her rent money, Alyssa and her roommate, Drew, race against the clock to avoid eviction to keep their friendship intact. Listen, the movie was hysterical. We needed to kiki in this moment in history, and baby Keke Palmer, SZA, and Issa Rae and their director Lawrence Lamont filled the prescription. They filled the prescription and they understood the assignment. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And what I was gonna say is my friend Danielle Pinnock was talking about the movie. She did like a little video review on her Instagram, and she said when she was talking about how the young man in the movie took the rent money and went to another how you gonna take the rent money and then go to another chick's house and be laid up with her? That's a whole nother conversation. But she said that sometimes a man doesn't need to love you. He just he just needs shelter because he's unhoused. I laughed out loud. If you don't know who Danielle Pinnock is, she's on a CBS series called Ghosts. She's currently nominated for an NAACP Image Award. She's freaking hilarious. But she said that and I laughed out loud. But the one thing that one of them days does more than anything else is it reminds you that you always have that one good friend, no matter how messy your life is, no matter how messy you are, no matter how messy things get for you, they are your ride or die. And luckily for y'all, I had a chance to sit down and talk to Miss Kiki and Miss Issa Rae. Now, SZA was running a little behind that day, so I didn't get her because she was running late. But I got Issa Rae and I got Kiki, and baby, we had a good time. Here we go.
I want to talk to y'all about producing Black women in Hollywood.
Oh my God!
How empowering is it for you to be able to call the shots as Black women in Hollywood? Because it's rare, but it's becoming unrare these days with women like y'all.
Well, we were just literally talking about this. You put it on a different level, but it is like such a privilege to be able to make the stuff that we want to see and honor the movies, the talent that came before us that made it possible for us to be doing what we're doing, to be able to collaborate. Like, this is a dream, and in particular for this project, it comes from a writer that, you know, I love, that is from LA, that is writes beautiful female characters and Black women. And so, you know, to have her come on board and all that she represents and all that she's doing in the hilarious everyday woman that she is, and like bring life to the role along with SZA. And this is what I was just saying, like, I hope that people walk away from this feeling like this is my favorite thing and I want more of it.
Yeah, it took me a long time in my career to be able to find people like Issa Rae. So for me, it was a very big honor to watch her up close, to get the opportunity to collaborate with her when she plucked me in to do this project with her. You know, because she has immense follow through. We're just talking about with that Capricorn energy. She don't play. It took us 6 years. And so to watch her spearhead this and make sure we get to the finish line, it was just awesome. And I'm very happy with the product.
I love the phrase walk in your purpose, right? So I wanted to know how you all were able to walk in your purpose and embrace the present the last time you had one of them days.
Ooh, I'm not gonna lie. When I be mad out of it, it's very, very, very hard. It takes me a couple of them days to get over. Because I wake up and I'm happy.
Yeah.
But I just had a situation where it was hard to get out the funk, and I didn't get out of it until I was around, you know, my friends and the people that I love.
I'm someone that sits at home and watches movies and TV shows. It's always been an escape. Yeah, I'm an escaper. So I've always done that. Whenever I'm having one of those days, cuddle up on the couch, watch me a good movie, a good TV show, until I forget, you know, what even happened before.
Cool. Do you be crying?
I do cry. I'm a crier. I'm like, oh my God.
Are you an ugly crier?
Oh, baby. There is no cute crying over here. When I tell you my face is stretching, I'm crying. It's crazy. But you gotta let it out. Okay.
And since you answered you a crier, are you an ugly crier?
I am too ugly. But
Why you stuttering?
Because I've been trying to keep it in, and that's ugly too.
My best friend cries like this.
That's
and just tears. I'm like,
no. That's like people who sneeze like, like just get it out, please.
Cannot, because I'm one of them people that sneeze like that.
I can't. What are you trying to do?
Leave me alone.
Don't like, you don't want your body to shake.
Do not come for me, Issa Rae.
Sorry.
But I want to say this before my time is up. I enjoyed this because it was giving me like that feel of a like millennial version of Baps. And I love Baps. God. Baps is like one of my favorite, you know, like black girl girlfriend movies. I love the nod to gentrification. I love that y'all call her millennial, not melanin deprived. That is funny to me. But I love y'all for embracing us and giving us the most authentically us stories that you can possibly give. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for supporting.
Yes.
I'm always going to support y'all. Y'all know that.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Lauren.
Hey, Carla.
Look at you looking all dewy.
Yeah. So funny. Yeah.
Up in here with your sweater looking all dewy and carrying on, looking all moisturized.
So funny.
I am stupid. Okay, let me stop eating up my time. Let me ask you this. What is it like for you, this young, dewy, moisturized brother, to collaborate with these beautiful Black women and telling a story that's so authentically unique to us.
It's a dream come true, honestly, because one, this is an anomaly for a film like this to even happen. So for a film to happen in general is tough. So to work with Black women, let alone these Black women, Keke Palmer, SZA, Issa Rae, I couldn't have asked for a better team. They all bring their A game. They work hard. They don't let anybody slip, and I think that translates on the screen.
What did Issa have to say to get you to come on board? Was she like, yo, I got this project? Like, what down?
No. Oh, I mean, honestly, I got the script 4 years ago.
Wow.
4 years ago, I got the script from my management, and I was already familiar with the writer's work, and just love what she does on the page, how organic the characters feel, how it's like, I know them already. So I put together a take because I'm from Detroit, and I grew up in the Detroit version of the Jungles, and my mom was Drew and Alyssa. In one,
Yes, I do.
You know what I
mean? Some aunties like that.
So just to see these women and men and the community that I knew, I told Issa I need to do this. It was the other way around, So I'm grateful that I was selected, and I'm happy we were able to make this come to life.
So what was it about SZA and Keke that made you cast them in these roles? Because they're giving me like a millennial version of Baps.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, one, I think their personal personas are Drew and Alyssa in a way. Keke is the big boss. She's got a plan. She's city to city all the time. It's kind of like where Drew is trying to go, and even with SZA, our first rehearsal with them, we were just talking. I'm just like, you are Alyssa in real life, so can we lean into these personal traits, and like see what magic we can have? And once they were together, I saw them on SNL. The friendship was just undeniable. Even when the cameras weren't rolling, it was like the cameras need to be rolling because y'all are all over the place,
Were you surprised when you saw SZA on SNL? Were you surprised that she had that kind of those kind of comedy chops?
I wasn't actually,
No?
Because she's so good. Her albums are so well, and I think you have to have some sort of like artistic timing, whether it's comedic, whether it's dramatic, to even create the masterpieces that she makes. So once I was able to rehearse them and do chemistry tests with them, I'm like, this is what I expected, As long as she believes in herself, we were good to go, and she did, and I think we see it on screen.
I have to ask you one last thing before I let you go. What was the decision to shoot in? It looks like the same complex that they shot Insecure.
No, it's not, though.
It's not. It looks just like
other people said that too. It's
it
not.
does.
Yeah. We're in the jungles, so I think that was in the dunes. That was in like another part.
It looks just like the dunes.
Interesting.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a happy coincidence. We didn't plan that at all.
Okay. I'll let you slide on that one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Lawrence, for your time. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, y'all, I want to give a big shout out to Lawrence, Issa, Keke, Anthony, Jarrell. Who else did I talk to? I think that was it. Oh, one more thing. So before I let y'all go, I want to thank all of those people for their interviews. But before I let you go, before the fires hit and everything just went haywire, I sat down and I talked to the vice chair of the NAACP, Karen Boykin Towns. And we talked about the nominations. It was the day the nominations hit, which ironically was the same day that the fires kind of went crazy. But we sat down and we talked about that. And I think you'll be educated about the NAACP Image Awards a little bit. But before I do that, let me go to these comments. You said that movie looks hilarious. You know what? It is hella funny. And there's lots of cameos in it. I won't tell you who's in it, but there's lots of cameos in it. You really want to check it out. Listen, I'm telling you, it's like a millennial version of Baps for the millennials. And for my generation, it's like a whole different spin on Friday. It's like Baps meets Friday. It's hysterical. All right. Having said that, let's listen to what Karen Boykin Towns, the vice chair of the NAACP, has to say about the upcoming Image Awards. Our stories, our culture, our excellence is the theme this year. How did you guys land on that theme?
Well, actually, it's been our theme for the last few years, and it really reflects where we are, right? It is about our stories. It is about our culture. It is about excellence. You know, that's what the Image Awards are all about. And so we're really excited. Folks are excited about being nominated. You know, folks are excited to see their favorite artists being nominated. And so the energy today has just been off the chain.
Now, when it comes to award shows, I remember back in the day, the only one that would have like a musical performance literally would be the Oscars, and they've kind of like shied away from that as of late. Do you think the NAACP would ever have like a couple of performances by a couple of the nominees or a former winner or something just to break up the evening?
The one thing I've learned, so being one of the executive producers of the show, is music is expensive in terms of...
I don't know what I thought you were going to say, but it wasn't that.
I mean, just keeping it 100, right?
Right.
But we know the importance of having music, and it's something that we like to incorporate. But the other thing is we, have 8 to 10 categories that are generally in the live show. Although this is a fun fact, there are 92 awards. There are 92 awards, of which on live TV you only see 8 to 10 categories. We have the President's Award, and we have the Chairman's Award. The producers of the show, they are very clear, and I've been doing this. This is my 5th show. They are very clear in terms of time, because we have got to end at 11 o'clock. CBS is not allowing us to run over. So we have to end the show on time. And so it's by the second almost that things are apart. And so it's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle of which we want to have music between the costs and the time, but it's something that we definitely talk about, and it's something that we definitely want to incorporate when we can.
So over the years, I've seen the show expand in terms of categories. You mentioned it a little bit earlier. At first, it was, pretty much cut and dry. It was like music, TV, film. That was it. Now you guys, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it may have expanded during the pandemic or maybe a couple of years prior to that, but you guys have expanded to literature, you've expanded to podcasts and social media and a couple of other different categories. Do you think expanding the brand of the NAACP with the Image Awards in this way has assisted in you guys reaching a younger audience?
We want to be connected to the culture. And like everything, things evolve. And after each show, we will look at each of the categories. If we have a category that for a couple of years, maybe there haven't been that many submissions, we'll sunset it. When we look ahead and we see what is going on, we will look to include. So perfect example is the social media personality. I remember when that idea came up a few years ago, there were some people like, what? And just knowing the power of social media and the influence of a number of these personalities, we thought it was really important to lift them up because they are having a great impact. And so it has really, really taken off and highly coveted, I would say. I believe Tabitha Brown was our first social media personality, and look at her now.
I was just about to say, you guys have done adding the social media category to the NAACP Image Awards, what would be likened to somebody being on the Apollo and having a recording career after that. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing, but in a different lane.
Yeah. The other thing, and just to, give you some insight, this will be our 3rd year with the new categories, I said, but as we are looking at what is going on, country music, it's been very interesting in the last year or so to see how artists of color, Black artists, have been treated in that space. And it became known, and I thought a lot of people knew, but maybe not, that certainly Blacks have been very much part of country music dating back eons.
Day
And
one.
so we've never had a country music category. But looking at what has been happening, it is something that we are taking under consideration for next year, because there is great talent in that space that may not be getting all the visibility, recognition, and exposure that they should. And so we are taking that and looking at that as a possible new category. And so that's what I mean by like looking at what is happening and where it is that we can leverage our platform to be of service. Because at the end of the day, if we don't recognize our own, who will?
You're right about that. You are right about that. And country music, Black artists have been in country music for over 50 years. People just weren't paying attention. And the thing that I believe made people stand up and pay attention is when Beyonce got into the lane. Her presence there, because she has such a large presence globally in the music genre, it made people stand up and pay attention. So I got nothing but respect for that young lady for taking the attention off of her and putting it onto others. It's very unselfish and very needed. I wish that more artists and more people in the entertainment industry were that generous. Yeah, but that, I had to state that because that's a fact. And you guys do a really great job of peppering love all the way around with films like Albany Road that have been nominated. That's a film that I saw early on this time last year that stars Lynn Whitfield and Renee Elise Goldsberry from Hamilton. It's a very, very moving film. And so I'm happy to see that even though they did not get love in other areas, and in other sectors, that at least the NAACP is honoring Christine Swanson's work and the actors' work in that project. Just to close it out, Karen, what would you say is the best part of your job that you look forward to getting into daily?
I get to be reminded when I get weary, because it can be hard, and sometimes the losses aren't, when you've worked hard and you don't see those results, you just got to pick yourself up and get back at it, because victory will come, but it will only come if we stay at it.
That is the perfect way to end it. What am I going to ask you after that statement? Like I would just ruin the interview if I did that. But I would be remiss in letting you go, Karen Boykintown, without giving you homage about this hairdo, honey, because the hair is swooped and whooped. Oh, it is gorgeous. And so are you. Thank you for allowing me to take some of your time today. I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully I'll see you at the live show.
Hopefully you will.
All right.
Thank you, Karen Boykin-Towns. I really enjoyed having that conversation with you. You guys look for your local listings for when the NAACP Image Awards 2025 is airing. You want to check it out and support that organization. Again, you want to check out Better Man. It is produced by Paramount Pictures. It is in theaters right now. Hard Truths is in limited release, starring Marianne Jean-Baptiste and Michelle Austin. And of course, Unstoppable is on Prime Video. And last but not least, SZA and Keke Palmer are starring in One of Them Days. And it is in theaters right now, produced by Sony Pictures. When I come back next week on January 26th, I will be talking to the cast of Harlem, which will be streaming on Prime Video. I will midweek be giving you a preview of what's to come on the Sundance Film Festival docket in 2025. Please check out Back in Action with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. And tomorrow is January 20th, the day that we normally recognize the accomplishments and the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He always said that he wished that people would be judged by not the color of their skin, but the content of their character. And I agree with that wholeheartedly and am happy to be working on Martin. There hasn't been a day since that was a national became a national holiday that I haven't had some type of job, and I would rather work on that day honoring Dr. King's achievements and what he fought for the Black community and for people who are othered in general than to be sitting at home doing nothing. So enjoy your Martin Luther King Day. Thank you for joining me. I know this was super long, but I hadn't been here in nearly 3 weeks, and I just wanted to make sure that I gave you guys the best possible podcast that was as thorough as I could possibly be, without running over too much time. And then last but not least, I just have to speak about this whole TikTok situation, and I'm just gonna say this real quick on my way out. I find it very interesting that our current incoming POTUS is taking credit for bringing the app back to the platform, which was gone less than 24 hours, considering the fact that he was the one who signed the executive order to ban it in the first place. So if there are content creators watching this, you need to know that you have been gaslit. They took the app down only to put it back up and then congratulating him for a problem that he created in the first place. That's all I'm going to say about it. You don't have to take my word for it. It's facts. Look up the executive order from August 2020 and you'll see exactly what I mean. I want to thank Sav Productions and Brandon for popping in and saying hello to me and watching the podcast as they do every week. Y'all are the bomb. I love y'all for coming and supporting me. I love those who support and watch it after the fact. I appreciate you. And yeah, I will see y'all on the I will see y'all on the flip side. Love, peace, and hair. Oh, wait, somebody's saying something to me. Oh, 100. Yes, my brother, 100. So until the next time, love, peace, and hair grease and deuces. I'll see you on January 26th. Bye-bye.
Hold up. Wait a minute.